Welcome back to the Splash City Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Hartman. Today, we'll be talking about NBA fan experience. We'll be talking a little bit about some 90s nostalgia in both presentation of NBA games, but also in some of the, fan engagement that you can do and basketball cards, things like that. I got my good buddy Derek Bolden joining today. That'll be super fun to talk to him. He's got great experience in innovation and engagement and things like that. So I'm really excited to bring him on to his podcast debut. But first, I want to dive into the new arena, the Lee and Penny Anderson Arena on the campus of University of St. Thomas. The Tommies unveiled their new $180 million arena that has dual purpose for hockey and basketball. And I attended the opener, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. So thanks for listening. Find Splash City Podcast on Instagram. And with that, let's get started. All right, so I was in attendance for the St. Thomas men's basketball home opener at the brand new Lee and Penny Anderson Arena. I took my son with some of his friends. We had a great experience. We were sitting about third row, kind of in the corner. So just initial vibe when you walk into the arena, it's very bright. It's got that limestone facade like all the buildings that St. Thomas have. Really impressive kind of entrance as you walk in. I will say the parking situation at St. Thomas is a little wonky. It's kind of residential neighborhood. So it's not like at Minnesota where you have lots and ramps and stuff. There is a ramp, but that's for I think season ticket holders maybe, or certain club ticket holders, things like that. And then when you walk in, it was a little chilly on Saturday night here. It was in the upper 20s, kind of windy. So we were outside a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't a long wait to get in. But when you walk in, you go up the stairs. It's kind of this cool entrance. You can see the arena from the concourse right when you get up to the top. So that's fun. Most of the food vendors I saw were the kind of the self-checkout version where you grab what you want, check it out. No alcohol served on the main concourse of Lee and Penny Anderson Arena. Obviously, it's new, but it just kind of has this fun atmosphere inside the arena. They did a nice job, I think, with the amenities. The scoreboard is really well done. It's kind of got a curve to it, so that hangs over the center, and it's easy to find statistics. It's easy to find information on the players and scoring. So that's always a nice thing for fans. There was a few sections that kind of were interesting to me. One of them being on the one end, there's I don't know if it's a suite or what, but there's a really bright chandelier that hangs over the center of it. It almost, if you've been to the Cosmo in Vegas, it kind of had that vibe to it. So that was kind of interesting, I thought. Otherwise, from a seating perspective, where we sat, you can tell it's multi-purpose, right? So not everything is geared towards a basketball experience. Some of it's geared towards a hockey. So where we were sitting, we were kind of looking straight where the goalie would be on our end. So, that's a small thing, but you do have to kind of turn to watch the majority of the game. It reminds me of the Metrodome, how that was dual purpose. And then when you were there for baseball, it wasn't always a great fit for your viewing, but you make it work. Other things about it, it felt more like an NBA experience, in my opinion. There was a lot of music. There wasn't a pep band. There wasn't the a student band, but it was kind of a be seen type of environment where there was a lot of people meeting up, and it could be the first time for our new arena, which we'll see if it's like that all the time. But it was just definitely more of a lot of music in between plays and timeouts and things like that. A lot of t-shirt giveaways. So everyone wants a free t-shirt. So that was going on. And yeah, food wise, it was fine. We had just your normal, my son's a big pretzel and cheese guy, if you listen to one of our earlier pods, and I just got popcorn. So nothing crazy there, but what else? I thought it was a really cool touch that they had Army for the opening game. I didn't realize this. I had read a little bit about Lee and Penny Anderson, but apparently Lee had played at Army, graduated in the early 60s, I believe. So he was actually a West Point graduate, played on the basketball team, and hence that's why Army was the home opener. So that was a cool touch that they did. And I think that made it extra special for that first game there. It wasn't full, which I was really surprised by. There's, excitement. This is one of the largest donations in the history of Division One sports, and there was some empty seats for sure. Like right in front of us on the end, there was, I would say, it was maybe 3/4 full. So there's a quarter empty seats, which I was just a little surprised by. And then the suites too. There was, and maybe people were up moving around, but there was a lot of empty seats. And that level, which again, like if you're opening a new arena and you know are relying a lot on club level, suite level people to fund this, that they wouldn't have more folks in attendance, I thought was interesting. It was cold that night, but it was a Saturday, so I'm not sure what to make of that. I just think like if you're not selling out a home opener in a brand new facility in your first year of NCAA eligibility in November, how is it going to be on a January when you're playing Kansas City or somebody like that? So something to keep an eye on, I guess, as the season rolls on. As the game went, St. Thomas got off to a hot start. They built a huge lead in the first half. Army was cold. I think at one point they were shooting like 25% and 10%, 9% from three. Minnesota, Osterbahn, and Janikowski were kind of the big contributors there. And yeah, Minnesota is just really impressive to see in person. That was one of the nice things. I felt like you were really close to the action and you could really see the game and the players and kind of hear it. Like we were third row up in the corner, but there's nothing but good sight lines there. Like you're going to have a good viewing experience of the game, so it'll be a great place to watch a game throughout the season. Second half, Army made some adjustments. They looked much more comfortable and made some shots and started getting to the basket, getting to the paint, putting more pressure on St. Thomas in the second half. And they actually whittled it down. I think they had it down to 7 at one point. I think the final score was 10 points or something like that was the margin. So St. Thomas wins their home opener. They opened the Lee and Penny Anderson Arena. I would encourage all basketball fans, if you want to catch some Division One basketball, now there's 2 options: Minnesota, or you go to St. Thomas and catch some Summit League action. I think they host St. John's, which is really really fun that they're bringing St. John's in December for a game. So that's old MIAC rivalry game. That'll be cool. Otherwise, the NDSU's, UND, South Dakota State come, and then of course defending Summit League champion Omaha will make a trip to St. Paul as well. Overall, good experience. Didn't break the bank. We got good seats for like $33, I think it was. And yeah, overall, I'm sure we'll be back later this season to catch a game, probably an NDSU or UND game, since I have some friends with ties to those schools. But really excited to have more D1 hoops in Minnesota. And like I've said before, and I'll continue to say, I would love to get a Minnesota St. Thomas crosstown rivalry, public school, private school, Big Ten, mid-major kind of a game going if they can. And, where they play it, I don't think it really matters to me, but it'd be fun to go do a home and home every year with those 2 teams. So if you get a chance and have a free night, check out St. Thomas and check out the new Lee and Penny Anderson Arena in St. Paul. We are live from the Scoreboard Bar and Grill in Minnetonka, the very festive Scoreboard Bar and Grill in Minnetonka, to do the first remote podcast segment of the Splash City Basketball Podcast. I'm honored to have Derek Bolden, a good friend of mine, here with me. He works in product innovation. He's an entrepreneur and, of course, a basketball fan like myself. Actually, Derek's another friend of mine who I was blessed to share the basketball sideline with while I was coaching high school basketball. So it's good to talk the NBA fandom and the fan experience with you today, Derek. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's I feel like it's mid-December here at Scoreboard. It's very festive.
It is, yeah. When I got here, Derek wisely told me to take a left at Santa to find him. So that was helpful here. It was great to see Santa this early in the year, to be honest. But all right, let's talk a little bit about the NBA. And there's been some changes at Target Center with viewership and technology. all things experience, in arena experience. You, Derek, were at a recent Timberwolves game. Tell me about some of the things you noticed at Target Center with the Timberwolves, maybe even like with the new ownership there, what that might mean for Wolves fans.
Yeah, so this is the first game of the year I attended, and I know that there's a new app that is running everything. So the company Jump is running all the app for ticketing, merchandising, concessions, and it was pretty slick. Getting into the stadium was easy, and utilizing the features of it was pretty cool. I think probably the biggest highlight that I want to go back and try without the whole family is you can upgrade mid game and kind of move down to the first 10 rows, which was pretty unique. So yeah, so you know, that's definitely a change from the previous years.
Did you take advantage of that?
I did not. I was a little worried about moving the family. And we already started out with some good seats for a first time deal for my son. So but yeah, it was prompted, said, hey, you can move up for $85. So yeah, we had decent seats, but I was like, all right, I might have to think about this next time I go out.
Nice. I haven't been to a Wolves game this year, but just the last few years, it feels like they're slowly improving things in the arena. Tell me about the you went to the NBA Cup game last Friday, and the floor was a little bit different. I didn't watch the game, so I didn't even know about this. But tell everyone listening what that was like.
Yeah, so the floor itself is a bright neon green, which you see as like accent colors on their jerseys, which, it's a subtle touch, but it is a big statement taking up that much real estate on the hardwood. Which is funny because they put a whole like over $1 million lighting system in to basically do stage lighting, which is amazing because it's more like you're watching a performance. So it's a little bit darker where the fans are sitting, but with all that really nice stage lighting, you're hitting that neon green and it's reflecting up on the players' faces. So everyone looks a little sickly. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see it not NBA Cup floor and see how it looks in the normal setting.
Was the stage lighting noticeable while you were there? Because on TV, it looks very different from what it used to look like. It does have that kind of stage appearance. It looks more like what the LA Lakers looks like. So did you get used to it? Were you like sitting in the dark, or just like what is just compared to like what it used to be at Target Center?
Like I didn't feel like there's like some weird, you know, ambiance or anything with it.
Yeah.
So, but it was nice. It was clear. Nothing that I think a casual fan would even notice, but I think somebody who's gone several times and been like, all right, this is better. This is an upgrade.
Yeah. So let's talk more about Jump. Like you mentioned, the tickets you can get in-game upgraded seats. What else does the app have for features and things that fans might be or might find useful?
So they're only a few months into the Timberwolves season. They have other teams involved using that as a ticketing app. I think what's unique about the company, from my understanding, is instead of having your food vendors using one different device, using your merchandise through another device, using your ticketing through a different app, that it's all encompassing in one. So I think they're trying to consolidate the fan experience. They're trying to make it easier. The fact that, if you think about you're on a flight and you wanna upgrade your seats into Comfort Plus or first class, you can do that all with an app. And that's where, mid game they're prompting that, hey, do you want to upgrade your seat? It's it's something that you can take advantage of. You can kind of elevate your fan experience. So having a one-stop shop with video content, with your tickets, all of it being one spot, I thought was a nice touch, and it was seamless out the gate. So it's something they can build on.
Yeah, I mean, I know like Mark Laurie and A Rod are definitely, I think, going to be different owners than Glenn Taylor in this regard, and it's probably a good thing for fans. I know visually the court looks better when you're just watching on TV with that stage lighting. But some of those in arena things also just make everybody more likely to come back and stay engaged and do all those things. Let's talk a little bit. We were kind of waxing nostalgic about the 90s, right? And the NBA on NBC is back, and John Tesh, Roundball Rock is back. Kind of feels like, I mean, I don't know if they're purposely targeting our age group, but people who grow up in the 90s with the Jordan era, all those things, it kind of feels like that's where we're going back to. Even outside of basketball, like with fashion, there's a little bit of a 90s, refresh going on right now. So let's just talk about that and like the changes at NBA on NBC and some of the things where to watch games has changed, and TNT is no longer part of it, right?
Yeah, I love it. It's a good surprise. Honestly, we had a game on the TV the other day, and the theme music came on, and I literally paused and turned around to look because I did a flashback moment to where it's like this is great. I know in the NFL, my son totally has a favorite theme song for the broadcast, and it's like, all right, you need to have this associated with it. It's a small touch, but music alone sets the mood. It's the beginning of the broadcast. So you have to set the stage from the start.
Yeah, I mean it certainly like brings back all those memories of the NBA finals on NBC, and I think there are some people concerned or whatever about the inside the NBA crew from TNT and that was going to go away, and they moved to ESPN. I will say I've heard I've seen the NBA on NBC broadcast. It was great. The production, like you said, the music, everything just kind of brought back these warm and fuzzy feelings. And Prime, by all accounts, has a very solid production. They have good announcers. The one critique I would have for the NBA is the ESPN crew, and I've heard this from a lot of people and experts. It's rough. I mean, I enjoy the Barkley, Shaq, Kenny on ESPN, but the in studio part of the ESPN production is the one thing that I'm just not a huge fan of. But all the other ones that they've done, those other decisions, I feel like have been really solid.
Yeah, you can tell there's a lot of moving pieces, and even with having it on all these different streaming services, like eventually it'll whittle down and the cream of the crop will rise. I think that's the tough part is knowing where and when games are on. Like right now, I just stumble upon like, oh, there's going to be a game on Amazon. Oh, there's a game on NBC. It is a little bit by random chance, and I know it's spread out, but hopefully that'll come to where it's like, all right, this is where I live. This is when you know
Yeah.
what to expect. But that's where it's tough. Like the NBA is not like the NFL where you know it's on Sunday, but it's expanded. So
I think that's why having it on NBC is important because I am not someone who has every Wolves game. I have Hulu Live, so I don't get the FanDuel network. I want to watch them, but I get to when they're on primetime, when they're on ESPN or NBC now, because that's what I have and Amazon. So I think this happened with the Twins too, where they're not on a channel that most people can watch them. You have to download an app. Some people don't want to do that, and you're going to lose some viewership and interest. So the more they can get the teams, in this case the Timberwolves or the NBA, on easily accessible channels, I think will be good. Going back to the 90s theme, another thing you brought up to me the other day, and I didn't really know much about this, even though I grew up collecting basketball cards, football cards, baseball cards, was Topps and how Topps had lost the rights to the NBA cards, but now they got that back. So just talk to the listeners through that as well, for those that have kids or still collect their cards.
it's exciting. I definitely got the little kid vibes again, like collecting cards. So I've totally submerged myself back into Tops. They got their license back with the NBA, so they just launched their flagship product here at the end of October. So it's a nice set of like the standard base cards look like something that I remember in the 90s. Like it's got a pretty solid look to the card, and then they have a bunch of fun additional stuff. And where this is getting interesting within this hobby, because I do think the hobby is at a peak right now where you can hear about card events and kind of almost celebrity card dealers on different platforms to where you can get access to these cards and they're selling for astronomical numbers. But what's interesting is when you rip a pack, and it's still got that old classic smell when you open a pack, you're like, oh yeah, I remember this, and just being excited to see what's in it. And now you can get autographs within a pack of cards, which is insane. And you get these like relic cards where you can get like snippets of their jersey or like a debut tag that lived on their jersey during their first NBA game. Like these are things that get you that much closer to the players and the ones that you kind of care about. And you can, chase to try to get those down. And that's where it's interesting is, all these things that you remember as a kid, you want to introduce it to your kids and they're bringing back some of that consistency. And also adding these new layers of things that you couldn't imagine back then.
So in our day, we were excited because we got a stick of bubble gum that was like, a crappy stale piece of bubble gum in a pack of cards. But now you're saying kids who open a pack might get a piece of a jersey?
Yeah, yeah. It's much different. Which is funny. I literally watched a pack opening from like a 70s pack that had a piece of gum in it. And the gum like literally ruined a couple cards because it's, 60 some years old in there,
Yeah.
but yeah, being able to pull it out and see like a Wemby autograph, like that's a game changer for a kid.
Yeah, that's so cool. So like we've talked about the 90s, some of these things coming back, some of these nostalgic things, but you and I were talking the other day and I thought one thing that was really interesting is these things that were unthinkable 30 years ago are now happening in arenas. Specifically talking about the Clippers. So talk to the audience about the Clippers arena experience and some of the things they're doing. It's really innovative. Again, new ownership with the Wolves. Maybe it's something they'll explore in the near future.
When you go to an event live in person, you want to, be engaged to the utmost, especially when you're spending your hard, earned dollars on something that's expensive. And I already highlighted the upgrade. Like you can spend more money and upgrade closer, like in the moment, which is I think fantastic. What the Clippers are doing, so they have a new jumbotron that is circular. And you can see like normally you see like here's the stats of the players and stuff, which is kind of a typical jumbotron during the game tour. They'll actually have visuals that move of the players, and if a player scores, you see like their face and like 2 points go by their head, and it's like for a casual fan to like not know who French players are and see like, oh, that's the guy who just scored, and I'm now recognizing the two. It was super interactive. I think some of the things that they did last year with recognizing the loudest fans, they invited them back to the playoff game. That's where I think it really gets interesting because if you're using some sort of audio directional target per seat and saying all these fans were the loudest in the stadium throughout the season, let's recognize them or let's incentivize them to be more engaged. That's super cool. That just shows like your fandom can go to the next level and not everybody's on the same playing field. Like certain people are tracking stats more than others. And there's your casual and your more intense fans. And they should be recognized for that. And I think that is really cool if you're actually getting, you take a cab to the game, you're getting a rating on how well you were as a rider in somebody else's car. Why would you not get a rating being at a stadium event? And if you're really doing some good stuff that helps the team by being loud, get recognized for it. Like that's super cool. I feel like that'll definitely engage younger fans. And they also had some like each seat has built-in remote that you can interact with the scoreboard and play like in-game games. Which I mean, you always, you bring out a red panda, she does, her halftime show, which is amazing. But if there's those in-between things that you can interact with and, get real-time polls, like why not?
That is so cool. I love that. It's almost like a democratization of the fan experience. Like not the one who sits courtside or has the $5,000 tickets. It's the people who are cheering the loudest or the most consistently. And that's the everyday fan that should be rewarded. Because a lot of times those playoff tickets are more expensive than regular season tickets, right? So to give them that, I think that's super cool. And thinking outside the box, just like that's gonna keep fans coming, keep them engaged, and that's what most of this is entertainment, right? It's an entertainment industry. So
Yeah. 'Cause right now the baseline is just get on the jumbotron during the game. Like that is
which is
your
also cool, by the way.
yeah. Yeah, you definitely
Sure.
wanna check that box. But then what else? Like what else can you do? And if there's like 10 other options and other things you can participate, whether you maybe don't want to be on the jumbotron and you want to participate in other ways, like I like that things are growing there.
I mean, the kiss cam, right? Like that's everyone. Oh my god. I just got a quick story about the fan experience. So at the St. Thomas home opener, the new arena the other night, and I can't remember the last time I was at a sporting event where they did the wave, and they when they I just kind of wanted to walk out, but I guess we'll let that one slide because it's the home opener. So that is one of those '90s fan experience things that I guess if sticking with that theme of the '90s. So well, that's super fun. Thanks. That's great information for all the listeners, Derek. If you're heading to a Wolves game, get this new app, Jump, JUMP. Maybe upgrade to better seats during the game, and anything else you could think of, Derek, as far as fans go.
Well, I did bring you something uh, for the nostalgic tops thing. I brought you a Cooper flag base rookie
Sweet.
card to add to your collection.
That's classy.
Maybe start you on the sports card
Yeah.
journey again.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I haven't. This will be my first card in a long time. I remember being so happy. I had a Charles Barkley card. I can't remember what kind of card it was, but I'll have to look it up tonight. Now, everyone listening, you got to go find your stack of basketball cards, your books, whatever you got. They're probably tucked away in some tote. I don't know if you can get a Beckett book anymore to look up and compare prices, but maybe you can look it up online. So hopefully, if anything, everyone listening can enjoy that because that's a big part of growing up as a sports fan is getting cards. So sweet, Derek. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Well, that's it for this segment. But thanks again, Derek. Appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge and expertise and fandom. We'll have to have you again soon. Talk more hoops.
Yeah. Cheers.
All right, that'll do it for the show. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks to Derek for joining, and I appreciate him coming on and giving us some of his experience and his knowledge on fans and technology and cards and memorabilia, all that stuff. Super fun to have him on, and it was great to check out that St. Thomas home opener. Thanks again for joining. This has been the Splash City Basketball Podcast.
Back in that bag again.